So I'll throw up my hands, praise you again and again. Hi, everybody. I had a dream yesterday, and it must have been the night for dreams because a couple other people in my Rapture watching group also had dreams that night. But I wanted to come on here and tell you the dream that I had. So it was one of those dreams where I woke up and thought, oh, that was just a dream, right? Like, I don't think anything significant happened in it, so probably just a dream and not from God. And then, like, 2 seconds later, I think of moments that happened in the dream, and I'm like, shoot, that was definitely from God, which is usually how it goes with these dreams. So, this is everything that I wrote down after waking up. In this dream, I missed the first couple days of school for being sick. So it was a brand new school year, and I hadn't gotten my schedule yet, so I didn't know where to go. I think somehow I managed to guess the first class right, as I didn't feel out of place, as I was with the right students there. And that there may have been another short class after that, but I remember not knowing where to go next as I hadn't gotten my schedule, so I was just walking down the halls, peeking into each classroom, seeing if I could find my classmates, worried I wasn't going to find my class, and that I may be in trouble for being late, maybe even also for missing the first 2 days of school. And each classroom has, they had like little kids in them, some maybe other ages. But so yeah, clearly wasn't where I was supposed to be. So, as I'm walking around the halls, I run into my sister, who just so happened to be there for some reason, which was a little surprising, as in real life she's 6 years older than me, so I'm not used to, wasn't ever used to like going to school at the same time as her, um, in real life. And I was like, hey, do you know where I could be, or where I would be supposed to go? I don't have a schedule since this is my first day, as I missed the first couple days due to being sick. She said she wasn't sure, but why not check breakfast, as it's still pretty early, they might be there. So I walk down the hall to the cafeteria, and sure enough, I see my classmates in the lunchroom having breakfast, and many are even still in line getting served breakfast, which was so comforting, as instead of having to go to a potentially stressful class, maybe even being late, it was just breakfast, and I love breakfast. Before I got food, the first table, when you walk right into the room, they were these big round tables, like in our actual school's cafeteria. And I saw my friend sitting there with a couple other people. However, when I walked up to the table, the chair right next to my friend was empty, even though I had just seen someone sitting there. So I'd asked him if the seat was taken, and he said, yeah, the person was in line getting breakfast, but I'm welcome to pull up another chair. So I did, and put my chair in between the empty seats and whoever was sitting next to them, as the cafeteria was really crowded, so it was easier than trying to put my chair on the other side of the empty seat to sit right next to my friend, if that makes sense. Um, I'm not sure exactly what this means, why I sat at my friend's table in the dream, because, we're good friends in real life, and, he's not a Christian. Um, I don't know how much I should say on here. Um, you know, it's always hard to know, like, how personal you should get on these videos, especially when you're not talking about yourself directly. You know what I'm saying? But um, he grew up Catholic, but I wouldn't say was really dedicated to it, if that makes sense. Um, I wouldn't call him an awful person, just that I wouldn't say that he has his priorities right, as far as like spiritually, which is, you know, that's what matters in life. That's why we're here. That's the whole point. So, but anyways, um, this reminded me of another dream that I had that also had him in it, several months ago, that I have on here, called my church camp dream. And yeah, I remember in that dream, it was surprising that he was there, because, again, he doesn't like go to church or anything. Like, so he was there, and I remember he was wearing this fancy suit, but it looked kind of terrible, like really like thrown together, um, like this really baggy suit, um, be- because he wasn't used to going to church, or church camp, so you know at least not like a Christian one, like Christian church things specifically. So he didn't know how he was supposed to dress, and he must have thought we all had to wear fancy suits to go to any kind of church things, which the camp in my dream that I went to growing up was a bit legalistic. So we did actually have some kind of dress regulations in real life, at least. I don't know necessarily in the dream, but like even he was like way overdressed even for that camp, with the full fancy suit on. But now, just thinking about it, the only church he knew growing up was Catholic, which, if I'm being honest, they're moved by rules. Uh, Gotta be really careful how I say this, but like to me that doesn't seem, how the Catholic Church is moved by rules. To me, it doesn't seem like it's all that dissimilar from the Pharisees. I don't know. Maybe that's too harsh to say, or maybe that's not harsh enough. I don't know. I just want to be careful because I don't want to like push anyone. I don't want to upset anyone, but also the truth will upset people, right? I mean, many people were upset by Jesus, but the truth is love, even if it's not what you want to hear, right? It's still the truth. But anyways, so I guess this is just what he was assuming you had to do in his mind, to wear these really fancy suits to go to church or whatever. Um, but that dream about the church camp made me think that it was God telling me he was going to get saved. In months before that, in real life, he even casually mentioned to me that he might even go to my church, which was awesome. I don't think he ever did, at least not yet. Um, Also, I remembered another detail in the dream I had yesterday was that before breakfast, one of the rooms that I had went in, it was this very small like music recording room with just like a little table in the center and like a little wall with a glass window, and want to say there were like four people inside of it, inside this little booth recording, singing something. And I think there were a few other people in the room. I know my friend, that I sat at the breakfast table with, he was in there, and maybe he had like big headphones on, and I don't remember what music they were doing or anything, maybe a cappella or something. But when they all left the room, I remember I was picking up all these things off the table that I guess people had set there. I put like a pencil in my pocket, a paper folded up, maybe another different folded up paper, and maybe some other thing. And I think I was like handing stuff off to people as they were about to leave. I guess that they were like forgetting their stuff, that they had left on the table. And I remember even like bending down and like even lifting up the tablecloth, and there were like several books and papers and pens just left under there. I don't know how they got under there and that easily in that short a time, but uh, yeah. So I was like grabbing all that stuff, kind of cleaning everything out from under the table, and giving stuff back to people. Although some had already left, so I think I just left the rest on the table or gave it to whoever was still in there. I think I was probably like the last to leave the room. I think there may have been other details in the dream as well that I can't remember. Um, the breakfast made me think that potentially it could be symbolizing the marriage supper of the Lamb, and it wouldn't be the first dream where I had food symbolizing that, specifically my water volcano dream where a big man wearing yellow invited me to dinner with him afterwards. That was during the time where the volcano was spewing water bubbles. And me in this dream being worried about missing the first couple days and being late, but actually being rewarded with food technically, reminded me of another recent dream I had where missing the first half day of work I was rewarded with pizza. Anyways, I'm out of time. God bless you guys. Peace.